Okay. All right. All right. All right. I'm sorry. Want to make sure everything is right. Let me look on the other side. Okay, that's coming through. Good. All right. Everything is, you could hear me, you could see me. Let's get it going. All right. Supreme Court. Supreme Court. 2 cases. We're going to talk about that. The election. I'm sorry, not the election, but the debate. We'll talk a little bit about that. And it's wild. It is the wild, wild west and a free-for-all.
Mommy, because I thought we were supposed to conserve it.
Dun, 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 dun. I like that instrumental. I hope you like that intro. I'm fooling around with some things, learning about different programs. Oh my goodness, all these programs. I'm trying to use all the free stuff until, I'm not going to complain. I'm just not going to complain. But no, I'm going to complain. I'm going to complain about this. Politics. All right. The hush money that former President Trump, he was convicted of 34 felonies. And I find it quite interesting how he got convicted on something that wasn't even a felony. It was a misdemeanor, not even a misdemeanor. They treated Trump like they treated Trump the way they treat poor people and trumping, pun on it, trump up charges and then go after them. Now, it has been said that all of this is politically motivated. It has been said that now the Democrats are afraid that the Republicans are going to do to the Democrats what the Democrats have done to the Republicans. My thing is this. If you start some mess and you continue with that mess, but you're afraid to get back the mess of that which you gave out, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't throw something at someone that you cannot accept being thrown back. That is a coward thing. That's cowardice. And I gotta say, yo, Dems, you got some cowardice with you. You do. And it's a bit, how can I say? It's not cute. It isn't. Having all that cowardice, but I digress. Now, Joe Biden, I have a sneaky suspicion. This is just simply me. But I find it interesting that she is not pulling Joe Biden back. Say, no, honey, no. I'm your wife. I see what's going on. And I'm not jiving with this. No, honey, no. I have to write all these notes. I wouldn't mind doing this for you and I, but I got to write down everything. Your speeches, where you're supposed to go, pull you back, let you know what era you're in. But I have an interesting thought of why she's not pulling him back. Now, I talked about this before, but it's sort of, let me see, where is it? Where do I have it? It's doggone, I just had it. Where is it? Oh, I have it over here. Okay, let me go ahead. I'm going to show you my belief. The reason why Joe Biden is not pulling her husband back. Let me share my screen. Okay. And then tell me if I'm wrong. Just say, hey, politics with Laura, you're making too much out of it. You're doing a bit too much. Now, come on now. At the State of the Union address, show it again. Look. Don't you find that a bit strange? Is it just me? Don't you find that a bit strange? She's over there at the State of the Union. Everyone is there. Now, I never seen Nancy Reagan in the State of the Union address walking around and smacking somebody on the lips. I never seen Hillary Clinton smacking somebody on the lips. I haven't seen Laura Bush smack anybody on the lips during a State of the Union address. Michelle Obama, I never even seen Melania, but for some reason, Jill Biden smacks on the lips of the first gentleman in front of everybody, not everybody, everybody. And what it seems quite interesting is that no one was surprised, no one gasped. What a scandal. Oh my goodness. How is this even possible? Yeah. When I saw that, I said, okay, Jill, okay, I see what you're doing. I see it. But let me go ahead and get into some other things. All right. But that's my thought about why Jill Biden is not pulling Joe Biden out of the race. She should. Some people call it elder abuse. I agree. I agree. But let me see. Now, let's go ahead and get into this real quick because 2 court cases. Now, I find rather interesting on the Supreme Court, and then I'm going to get into some other things that we really need to talk about. And let me ask you, wait a minute. Hey, how you doing, American girl? How you doing? Quick question. Okay, I'll come back to that. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the thick of it. Now, here, the hush money. Again, I'm not sure how this is even, the case has been postponed. Now, I've done a couple of videos on this, and I'm going to keep this real short and sweet. Let me see. Let me change this. Okay. All right. Now, former President Trump. Let me make this. Let me go back to this right here. Okay. It's not going the way I want it. Okay. Okay, keep in mind, former President Trump. He allegedly had a tryst, whatever you want to call it, with, where's she at? Where is she at? With this woman here. Okay, allegedly. Now she comes back 10 years later, fleeces him, saying, hey, give me that cash or I'm going to tell everybody. Look, Stormy, I'm going to tell you again. Look, businessmen are notoriously cheap. If you wanted to make some money, right, which you did, being in that industry and knowing that higher men will pay some money for right? You broke it. Now who's going to want to be with you? Now, all the other people that have this arrangement, you messed a whole lot up because you put them on Front Street. All right. But I digress on that. But how is it possible for Alvin Braggs, Letitia James, and shall I say Fannie Willis take Stormy Daniels and what she has alleged and tie that to election interference and turning into accounting this and that and other. I don't know how that happens, but it went from a misdemeanor to a felony. And I'm looking up some laws, and the way they got Trump had nothing to do with it at all. It did. But let's get into it. All right. So here, real quick. Okay. Now, the judge overseeing the former President Donald Trump's hush money. Now, they're going to push sentencing back until September 18th. I find that quite interesting. I find it interesting because they could sentence him now. Why would they wait until September? Are they going to look at some of the other primaries, debates, and see how well Joe Biden does? Because he did terrible. But are they going to wait and see? Are they going to switch him out and put somebody else in to run for him? Or will Kamala step in? I have no idea. This is unprecedented. And the fact that they allowed this to happen. But I'm going to push back. I'm going to calm down on that one for a second. I'm going to come back to it. But the hush money. Now, September. Again, I find that quite interesting. So here, the move came after the Manhattan District Attorney's Office said earlier Tuesday it would not oppose Trump's request to file a motion arguing that his hush money conviction should be tossed based on the Monday's Supreme Court ruling on the presidential immunity. Now, I found that interesting because they're only focusing on Trump. You know who they're not focusing on? Biden. They're not focusing on that right there. Wait a minute. I think I'll come back to that. But the immunity case. So they kicked the immunity. I'll get to that article. But here, the request to adjourn sentencing pending on the determination of the motion. Assistant District DA Josh Steinglass wrote in a letter to the judge Juan Merchan. And it goes on. It says Monday, just hours after the U.S. Supreme Court issued its landmark ruling that Trump has some presidential immunity from criminal prosecution from the actions taken overturned results in the 2020 elections. Trump's attorney sent a letter to Judge Merchan asking him to set aside the jury verdict in the hush money case. Now, remember when the Republicans said, high-ranking Republicans said, "Hey, look, you know, Democrats, your people have gone too far." We sat back and we were waiting for you to stop this circus show. But Alvin Braggs, Letitia James, Fannie Willis, if you continue on with this, if you sentence him to anything, your petty cash is going to be zero. You're going to have a heck of a time running on anything because it's going to be empty. If you want to run for your job again, and you're doing this, and you're letting your the people behind you that are greasing your money, greasing your hands, because the Soros family has put money in to Alvin Bragg's pocket. I did a video on that. Check that out. I did that about 5-6 months ago. And he put $10,000 into the slush fund along with his son and daughter because they hate Trump. They hate him. But then again, look, I say Trump is not an easy person to like. He's hard to like. But let's get back to the article. All right, so I found that quite interesting right there. So President Trump has some immunities as being president. So here, Judge Merchant, in his response Tuesday, signaled to the parties that he would rule on Trump's motion to set aside the conviction on September 6th. It's going to be interesting. He gave Trump until July 10th to submit a paper that the DA's office until July 24th to respond. Sentencing had originally been scheduled for July 11th, just days before Trump's schedule to claim the GOP presidential nominee at the Republican National Convention. Merchant has now set sentencing until September 18th. So, okay, my question was answered. All right, so found guilty of all that. And again, I truly believe I have a funny to set aside all those felonies and kick it to the side because of those immunities. Now, and I find that quite interesting. But even within those immunities, the judge, the Supreme Court, is going to, I'll show you the article. But before I do, Jill Biden, you can't make this stuff up. Hold on for a second. But you can't make this stuff up. You doing all of this? Jill, you doing all of this? Yes, Jill, yes, you doing all of this. Now, if it weren't for this right here, I don't think Joe would be in office. Now we're just Kamala's husband. Now, no other first lady has ever done that. No other first lady. None. But Jill Biden. I don't know what it is with the Democrats. I don't know. But I'll leave it right there. So let me see. Let's get into this right here. Now, I'm finding these court cases quite interesting because they're all starting to pop up. Now, here, the Supreme Court the U.S. Supreme Court's latest, the court sends Trump's immunity case back to the lower courts. Now, I find that interesting. Now, they just stated that former President Trump has some immunities. And now they're saying, okay, yeah, that, and we're going to kick it back to the lower courts. You all can figure it out. So the U.S. Supreme Court justices will soon take to the bench to release their last few opinions on the term, including a closely watched case whether former President Trump has immunity from criminal prosecutions from his role in Janeiro 6, right? But now, keep in mind, during Janeiro 6, the Supreme Court said that was not insurrection. That's not what that was. They were not trying to overthrow a government. You just had people down there saying, hey, let me tell you something. Don't be cheating. Not don't cheat, but don't be cheating going on there. They weren't trying to overthrow no government. They weren't trying to do any of those things. Now you had some provocateurs doing certain things, but there was none of that going on. No, that wasn't it. But let me get back to it. So here, In a historic ruling, the justice said on Monday that for the first time that the former presidents can be shielded from prosecutions for at least somewhat what they, I'm sorry, from prosecution for at least some of what they do in the Oval Office. Interesting. But rather than do it themselves, the justice has ordered the lower courts to figure out precisely how to apply the decision to Trump's case. Now, that I thought that right there, that they could have said, okay, look, we got the Constitution here. The Constitution says this. Now, this is what the president is supposed to do. But on a federal level, now we're going to take this and kick it back to the lower federal courts. Okay. Interesting. So here, now there were some interesting things that were said. Now, the anti-Trump influencer and the meme account on social media are reacting to the Supreme Court's immunity ruling by suggesting Biden should take advantage. Now, Biden has been taking advantage because if you look at this right here, you still got that check looming over. Still got that check. But social media post darkly joked that Biden should pack the courts, imprison Trump, or postpone November election, shielded by the newfound presidential immunity. Others made reference to King Biden and shared the image of depicting. This is too funny, but there was something in specific I wanted to talk about because it really, in my opinion, was very profound. And for some reason, whenever I get on these live streams, I can't seem to find it. But okay, the majority opinion on the immunity case is striking for what it does not talk about the basis for the criminal case, said Cliff Sloan, a constitutional law expert at Georgetown Law. When the court, in its opinion, kind of goes through a different element, such as talking to the Justice Department, talking to the vice president along, one thing I found surprising is that the court says very little about the grave nature of the crime, says Sloan, a former law clerk for the Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens. Interesting. But here, in a 6-3 ruling, the justices, and before I get into it, what I found, okay. What I found rather interesting was this 6-3. Now, the 3 dissented. That was Brown Jackson, Sotomayor, and I think Kagan dissented. And they're like, wait a minute. If you give a president immunity, they can do anything. There needs to be some accountability. Now, you had the other 6 were like, well, this right here, the president needs to have some some immunities, because the job that he has to be able to protect the country. He has to be able to protect the borders. We really don't see much of that, or lack thereof. But there has to be some type of protections. Now, what does this immunity entail? Is it entail everything? Now, could he go bang, bang, bang people and get away with it? I mean, go down to the treasury and just take some money, put it in his pocket, and take it to his house and say, you can't touch me because I have immunity? I mean, we got to really stop and think about this. We really do. Now, and this right here also, this question also covers Joe Biden as well. I mean, all the stuff he has going on, him and his son, how they're trying to, backdoor him out. You got Hunter in a bad state. And I keep on showing this check. Joe Biden came from his brother through the ukulele country and okay, that would also protect him as well. So I'm looking at this like, okay, let's see how this goes. But there needs to be some accountability there. Uh-oh. Hold on for a second. Let me make sure everything is working fine. Okay, excellent connection. What is going on? You're going to have a heck of a time running on anything because it's okay. Okay, I wanted to make sure everything is running fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back to the article. So keep that in mind. So what Trump is going through will also benefit Biden. Okay, do not lose track of that because both of them have their own issues. So here. Okay, so here, the 63, the justice said that the president shielded from prosecution for the office acts, but do not have immunity for unofficial acts. We got to find out what are unofficial acts because they can do whatever. The Supreme Court sent the case back to the lower courts, determining whether the core aspect of the indictment are unofficial versus official, and therefore potentially shielded from the prosecution. So, interesting. The House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, I can't do that but laugh at Hakeem. How do you lose all those times? We're going to leave it alone. Pledged Monday that Democrats will respond to the high court's ruling with aggressive oversight. What? Aggressive oversight in legislative activities if they win back the majority in November. Wait. Hakeem. Check this out, Hakeem. How are you going to legislate what goes on in the Supreme Court? They are a separate branch, Hakeem. Losing all those times to McHenry, to McCarthy, to Johnson. You lost all those times. You made the Democrats look bad. But how are you going to legislate that? You can't. They're under the Constitution, just like you're under the Constitution. I want to call you a fool, but that would be too nice. You can't do that. They're going to look at that paper, and they're all going to get together, drink their coffee, and call Hakeem. He sent us this dribble. He sent us this. He's going to try to legislate us. These people do not know their jobs. Watch. Oh, my goodness. Okay. The framers of the Constitution envisioned a democracy governed by the rule of law. No, they did not. Okay, look. Oh, my goodness. They did not envision democracy. Nowhere in the papers, nowhere in the Declaration of Independence, nowhere in the Constitution, nowhere in the Bill of Rights talk about democracy. It's all about the republic. Stop lying. I'm sorry. People lie. Okay, consent of the American people, Jeffries said in a statement, they did not intend for our nation to be ruled by a king or a monarch who could act with such absolute impunity. Oh man, okay, just foolishness. President Joe Biden campaigned on a statement that the Supreme Court's immunity ruling on Monday does not change the fact that the event on Janeiro 6, 2021, let's be clear. Whenever they say let's be clear, you know they're gonna clearly lie. What happened on Janeiro 6, Donald Trump snapped after he lost the election and encouraged a mob to overthrow the results of the free and fair election. Now, look, if they were not, I just don't know what to say with all of this craziness. That's not what happened. The free, fair election. And look, I listened to everything that Trump said. I listened to everything that Cruz said. And they were not trying to cause no insurrection or anything like that. No. They said just peaceful protest. You have the Fourth Amendment rights to assemble. You have the right to do that. You have the First Amendment right to be able to tell them how you feel. You can express your opinion, and that's what they did. But there were some provocateurs. I wonder how many Antifa, and I'm saying Antifa, I have no clue whether they were in there. I don't know, but some Proud Boys got, man, Proud Boys, you all are slick. You all are slick. You got those guys in prison. I'm going to come back to that. Man, I'm going to come back to that. All right. So let me see. The campaign said that Trump is already running for president as a convicted felon. And for the very same reason, he sat idly by when the mob violently attacked the Come on now. And that right there was not true. He was not a convicted felon when that occurred 3 years ago. No, he wasn't a convicted felon. That just recently happened. Look, who wrote this? Who wrote this? Okay. All right. Well, whoever wrote this, stick to the facts. You sound like Kamala Harris being at Howard University in the 1980s, but said that you were listening to Tupac and Tupac didn't come out until the late 1990s. Come on now. The same reason he sat idly by, okay, and the law and is willing to do anything to gain and hold power for himself. Joe Ski, Joe, that sound like you. Doing anything to hold power, going after him, having your Democratic minions to throw these charges at him. And you know, Dems, you opened the door to this. You threw the first punch. You started this. So when it's done back to you, do not be crying, whining, and screaming, oh, foul, this is horrible. Oh, no. You started it. The campaign accused the former president grown more unhinged since 2021. Oh my goodness, the attack under Biden. This right here is just complete dribble. Complete dribble. But they're going to throw it back. Okay. So this is not, come on now. Okay, so there. The presidents, both presidents, former President Trump and President Biden, have immunities. Now, keep in mind, it's under the official capacity, whatever he did under the capacity of being president. And then if he did something under the capacity of being a private citizen, but being in office, and I'm going to keep on bringing this check, is that under the capacity of president? Is that official or unofficial business? I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend. Help me out so I can go ahead and answer that question. All right. But here, this is going to be an interesting one. This is going to be interesting. Now, just hold on to your seats. Just hold on. Just hold on. Okay. Hold on. Just imagine this happening. Just imagine. That's all. I'm going to soak you for a second. Just imagine this. Yeah. Yes. Kamala Harris on standby as Democrats plunge into panic mode. And I'm giving you this title so that we can take a quick look at this simple. Let me go back. Let me take this down so we can take a look at why there is a panic in the disco. Panic at the Disco, if you remember that group. Closing. Okay, fair use, fair use. This is Black voters react to Biden and Trump debate. Listen, this is about a minute and 20 seconds long.
You're the sucker. You're the loser. Challenge me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. You have the morals of an alley cat.
The campaigns today, hoping their messages resonated with a particular voting group, both have been targeting.
What do you say to Black voters?
87% of Black voters backed President Biden in 2020, but that support has slipped down to 71%, according to recent polling by NBC News.
Raise your hand for me if you voted for Biden in 2020.
We watched the debate in Philadelphia with 3 Black voters who told us they are now undecided or disappointed with President Biden. But this moment from former President Trump left a bigger impression.
The fact is that his big kill on the Black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking Black jobs and they're taking Hispanic jobs.
There's no such thing as a Black job. We're very diverse people.
His perception of how he sees us as a community.
Constant use of division, to try to pit working people against each other.
For many Black voters we spoke to, disappointment in both candidates. NBC News' Gotti Schwartz watched the debate with voters in battleground Arizona.
Why are you talking about golfing? This is a political debate about presidency. And are you talking about golfing right now? And who has the better swing?
The reaction to last night's debate we heard from many, frustration and even sadness.
It really makes you not want to vote for the presidency. It really does.
If Black voters choose not to turn out in key swing state cities like Philadelphia, that could almost certainly spell electoral trouble for President Biden in November. Lester?
All right, Shaquille Brewster, thank you. Thanks for watching. Stay.
All right. I still want to know where that Black job is so I can apply. But what he did, it made a lot of sense, because when you bring all these people here, what is it, about 30 million people, 30 million illegal immigrants? Well, they need jobs. And the jobs that they are going to take or apply for, they are not going to pay them a lot of money. So if you're used to making $18 an hour, let's say you're working at a slaughterhouse, $20 an hour. Well, you're going to bring somebody who's an illegal alien and put them there and give them $9 an hour. They will be none of the wiser. So that's going to put not only Black people out of work, Latinos that came here legally, that have been here for a while, and also whites. 30 million people, they got to go all over the place, and they do need jobs. So former President Trump was right. Some of us are going to feel it sooner than others. And should I say this? Yeah, I'm going to say it. Whenever you have, let's say, a big case, and then you have two mice, they'll get along. Then you add another a mouse. They're like, okay, they're still getting along. But when you continuously putting mice in there, the resources sort of dwindle, and then territories start to divide, and then the fighting happens. Now, Kamala did say that this was an experiment, and they are watching and taking notes on what they see. So keep that in mind. So as you have all these people coming in, keep that in mind. That's all that I'm going to say on that one. But it is interesting. Now, back to the article. Kamala Harris and all the Democrats, and yes, they're panicking. They're like, well, okay, well, how about Michelle Obama? Oh, yeah, instead of Joe Biden, just say that he's going to take leave off. He's going to go golfing. Barack Obama, no, he already been there. Oh, let me see. Who can beat Trump? I don't know about Michelle Obama beating Trump. She's intelligent, yeah, but I don't know. Barack Obama, no, Barack Obama, his wave is gone. I want my 2 votes back. I want it back, Barack. They have no one who can beat Trump. No one. But let me quickly get to the article. All righty. Okay, so President Joe Biden stumbling debate performance. Stumbling, okay, that's a nice way of putting it. Thursday night has led to some calls for his party to step aside. And yeah, just weeks before he accepted the Democratic nomination. Now, they all knew what was going on with Joe Biden before he even accepted the nomination. Heck, he didn't even campaign. He just said, I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. It's also got parties wagging around, and wondering how Kamala Harris, the former prosecutor, if that's what you want to call it, forgive me, would do if she were handed the torch and to face off with Donald Trump. Poorly, that's how she would do. Look, Kamala would do horrible. Joe Biden is doing better than Kamala Harris, and Joe Biden has dementia and Kamala Harris doesn't. She just is not a good politician. Just isn't. The first former president ever to be both charged and then convicted of a crime. Interesting. If the 81-year-old Joe Biden were to heed those calls, it would set the stage for his 59-year-old running mate to potentially become the first woman and woman of color to lead the nation. Be very interesting. I could just see her laughing her way through everything. So I'm going to leave it right. Wait a minute. Michael Tyler, the president campaign communication director, told the reporters Friday that there is no talk happening inside the campaign for Joe Biden to stand aside. There is no conversation about that whatsoever. I disagree with that because you have some politicians and even some people. Michelle Obama even said, well, I have to wait and see. I mean, she couldn't even articulate a sentence, put anything together to even answer the question when the reporter asked Michelle Obama if Joe Biden is ready to run, something along those lines. I don't want to misquote, but she just was like, let me wait and see. That's bad. That is bad. It really is. So what I find rather interesting as far as what's going on, okay, let me take that out, is that we are in a lot of trouble. In my opinion, we are in a lot of trouble. We look so weak on the world stage. It's to the point to where Russian Waters is over in Cuba putting nuclear's windshield, you know what I mean, in Cuba, 90 miles away from the US. And nothing is being done. We are in a very weakened state, and we have a president that has a diminishing mental capacity. You can see it. He's falling all over the place. He starts talking. He talks about something else. He got his sister, his wife confused. I mean, when do we say, okay, Joe, thank you for your service. You did a lot of horrible things. Not many people are going to forgive you, but take a step back. It's dangerous. We're in a dangerous place. And we need to put somebody there. But that's not what people want. You have some people that hate Trump so much that they would rather keep President Biden in office, knowing of his mental capacity, and can't get past, oh, well, Trump. Well, Biden could beat Trump. Well, you know, when you take a look at that and you see how he did, I mean, it was horrible. It was terrible. I don't even know what to say. I truly don't know. I just said that we're in a very bad state. And I know that, you know, people that are on panels, they get paid. I'm going to keep it 100. I don't get paid at all. But they get paid to say Joe Biden is right for the job. They get paid to say Trump is right for the job. But we have to sift through all that. We got to look at our eyes and our ears and say, okay, I know you get paid. You get paid a lot of money. At the end of the day, who are you voting for? You know, it's really wild. It is really wild. But you have any questions? Oh, let me drop the link. What are your thoughts? Okay. All right, if you want to come up, come on up and tell me your thoughts. So Biden, do you think he will be the right person to go up against Trump for the next, what, 2 debates? Or should he just pack it in? What are your thoughts? Okay. But I go back to what I said earlier. Jill Biden, she's keeping Trump out there because of the first gentleman. You saw how they smooched. I'm not trying to start no trouble. I'm not. They did it in public. They did it at the State of the Union address to where it was being televised. I'm just talking about it. So, okay. All right, look, please like, subscribe. Please do that. And when you think about that immunity, right? Whether if it was official, unofficial capacity, I'm going to keep on showing this. That or before President Trump was president. She was in 2006. So we got to keep that in mind. Whatever happened in 2006, and she comes back 10 years later, that had nothing to do with it. He just was a cheap businessman, and she's upset because she could have got more money. And I keep on saying, Stormy, Democrats pay more. Okay. What was her name? Paula Jones. She got almost $1 million, and that was back in what 2000, 2000 something. So Donald Trump is cheap. Politicians, they take our money and then they go, give you all the money. But you can't make that stuff up. You truly can't. But on that note, where did I put it? On that note, I want to thank you for stopping by.